Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Update, your go-to source for the latest news, expert insights, and real-time developments on Iraq's currency, economy, and financial reforms. Whether you're a long-time investor or just curious about the dinar, you're in the right place. The Central Bank of Iraq has issued a significant and carefully worded statement. Our measures contribute to lowering the exchange rate and the decline is not temporary. Although the phrasing may appear awkward, its underlying meaning is profoundly important, especially to anyone monitoring the status and future of the Iraqi dinar. To decode and fully understand the implications of this statement, one must consider the context of monetary policy, foreign exchange intervention, and macroeconomic reform strategies in Iraq. The central bank is essentially saying that the Iraqi dinar is strengthening against the US dollar, and this change is not just a short-term fluctuation. Instead, it's a deliberate, sustainable, and long-term result of calculated policies designed to lower the exchange rate of the dollar relative to the dinar. In other words, the value of the Iraqi dinar is increasing due to systemic reforms and direct action taken by the central bank. This is not the result of market volatility or external forces. Rather, it reflects institutional intent and national economic direction. To begin unpacking this, it's vital to understand what is meant by exchange rate and why its direction matters. When someone refers to the exchange rate in the context of the Iraqi dinar and the US dollar, they are talking about how much $1 costs in Iraqi dinars. For decades, the dinar has been considered a heavily managed and undervalued currency, plagued by sanctions, war, inflation, and a weakened financial system. A high exchange rate, for instance, $1 equals 1,500 IQD, means it takes a large amount of dinar to purchase just $1. This reflects a weak dinar. Conversely, if the rate drops to $1 equals 1,200 IQD, then the dinar has strengthened. The central bank's statement directly addresses this scenario. Their efforts have brought down the dollar's exchange rate, signaling that the dinar is gaining value. Importantly, the bank emphasizes that this is not a fleeting change. It is not the result of temporary market sentiment, election cycles, or oil price fluctuations. Rather, it is a durable shift created through careful financial engineering and deep-rooted reform policies. One of the key tools used by any central bank to manage its currency's value is the control of supply and demand in the foreign exchange market. Iraq, like many developing economies, uses a mechanism known as a currency auction to supply dollars to the market to stabilize the dinar. In this system, banks and financial institutions bid for dollars, which they use to facilitate trade and commerce, primarily for imports. However, this mechanism has historically been susceptible to corruption, smuggling, and capital flight. Dollars allocated for legitimate trade would often end up in the hands of black market dealers or be funneled outside the country without delivering any real economic benefit at home. This demand for dollars created artificial pressure on the exchange rate, weakening the dinar further. Recognizing this, the central bank began implementing new protocols, including digitizing the auction system, requiring documentation for import transactions, and linking banks directly to the international SWIFT system. These changes had a twofold effect. They drastically reduced fraudulent dollar demand and increased transparency in foreign currency transactions. As a result of these reforms, the need for dollars began to drop because only legitimate transactions were being approved. Naturally, with less demand for dollars and more confidence in the regulated system, the value of the dinar began to climb. This is what the central bank refers to as their measures. But the reforms go even deeper. The central bank has also undertaken broader monetary and fiscal coordination with the Ministry of Finance and international institutions like the IMF. These bodies have advised Iraq on how to manage inflation, build foreign reserves, and ensure stable pricing. By increasing its holdings of gold and foreign currencies, the central bank has fortified its balance sheet. A stronger reserve position allows Iraq to defend the dinar if speculative attacks or inflationary shocks occur. This ability to intervene effectively reassures markets and reduces volatility, another factor in the stabilization and appreciation of the dinar. Moreover, the government has made strides to curb unofficial parallel market activity. The so-called black market exchange rate had been significantly higher than the official rate, often by 10 to 20% or more, which undermined public trust in the financial system. Merchants, travelers, and businesses would avoid official channels because of burdensome red tape or lack of access. The central bank's policies, such as tightening licensing rules for exchange bureaus, shutting down unregistered operators, and launching digital payment systems, have closed many of these loopholes. Over time, the gap between the official and market rates has narrowed. This convergence is another powerful signal that the exchange rate movement is structural and not speculative. It suggests that Iraq's monetary authorities are effectively taking control of the currency space and that the economy is being nudged toward formalization and modernization. One must also examine the psychological and symbolic importance of the central bank's tone. By saying this improvement is not temporary, the institution is drawing a line between the past and the future. It is distancing itself from the era of volatility, uncontrolled auctions, and economic sabotage. The statement is aspirational but rooted in data and reform. It tells the world that Iraq's currency is entering a new phase, one based on rule of law, compliance, transparency, and strategic vision. This is a powerful message in a region often beset by monetary chaos and external dependence. It positions Iraq not just as a recovering state, but as a rising actor with sovereign capacity to manage its own financial destiny. In summary, when the Central Bank of Iraq says its actions are lowering the exchange rate and that the decline is not temporary, it is not speaking in vague terms. It is referencing a wide spectrum of economic reforms, foreign exchange controls, anti-corruption measures, modernization efforts, and international partnerships. It is declaring that the Iraqi dinar's path to a stronger valuation is the result of deliberate policy, not coincidence. This is a long-awaited and highly significant development for Iraqis, investors, and observers of Middle Eastern finance. The implication is clear. The days of a perpetually weak dinar may be coming to an end. Iraq is asserting control over its monetary future, and the central bank is playing the lead role in that transformation. This isn't just about numbers on a screen. It's about national sovereignty, financial confidence, and the redefinition of Iraq's place in the global economy. Thanks for tuning in to Iraqi Dinar Update. If you found this content helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a beat on Iraq's evolving financial landscape. Stay informed and stay ready.